Hi there. I'm in a bit of an odd situation here. So I decided to turn on the camera and see what flows. You know, a lot of times I will be completely drawing a blank or blocked from understanding until I get this flow going, this flow that's being recorded, either written or visual now, my new way. On 12/16, it was my 1-year anniversary on uploads to YouTube. It's been an interesting time. Okay, what's going on? I mentioned in my last video that someone sent me a link to a talk, an interview of someone whose name is, I think it's Chris Thomas from Great Britain. And he's got some books that he's written, and he's got some very original ideas, I guess, that he says he has directly discovered through his own psychic explorations. He says that he has learned to read the Akashic records, and so he hasn't channeled, he's gone directly, is what he explains. And I'm quick to not accept things, but there are some things that he says that just seem pretty solid to me, even if they're different and unheard of. He talks about a group of beings called the Velon, V-E-L-O-N, and he sees two separate streams of invasion into our solar system here, our universe even. And some of what he says is supported by what the Andromedans have released to and through Alex Collier. He talks about a time, I think in 2003, when an invading species of beings was actually forcibly removed from our space. And this was something that was being considered, according to Alex, in the Andromedan Council. Now, the Andromedan Council is a council of a bunch of beings from different races and stars, you know, I don't know about star systems, but different races and planets and suns and so on. They happen to meet in the Andromedan area, and so that's why the council is named that. But there was discussion about how the mankind of Earth had been so mucked with, interfered with, tampered with, manipulated, controlled, and so on. It had been a problem for a long time. And if it hadn't been for the fact that our government had signed treaties with certain regressive service to self type ET beings, groups of them, then it would have been a relatively easy thing to rid the solar system of their invading presence. But by signing these treaties, where they found out later that they were duped and manipulated and played for fools, but by then it was done, you know, and by signing the treaties, it really complicated matters because free will has to be taken into account. And so the treaty was like an invitation. And so what to do, what to do. And so the Greys, are, according to the Andromedan Council, are particularly aggressive and against humans, not just here, but apparently in 21 different star systems are having problems of the same sort where there are humans, and the Greys are just kind of predatory and arrogant and all that kind of thing. So anyway, it's just fascinating the different kind of story he tells about what is and what the history is and what the future is as well. Now, I don't like talking in terms of future because there is no such thing. But we're here in our 3D minds and our 3D reality, and we're having to use words to speak, and words are very linear, and so we're dealing with time here. And so it's challenging. We keep looking at the two sides of the coin. You know, on one hand, everything is simultaneous. On the other hand, that's not our experience of it, our seeming objective experience. On the one hand, everything is one, and there is no hierarchy in one. On the other hand, there's a cosmos and there's hierarchy because you have hierarchies of frequencies and so on, and beings occupying the different ones, and by definition that's a hierarchy. So it's like both are true at the same time, and it totally boggles the mind, and that's fine, folks, because we're going to heart with these things. We don't rely on mind. This just isn't one of those things that it's useful for. So I've been in a bit of a quandary. I've done introductory videos before. One was to introduce Alex Collier, and I'd gotten permission to upload one of his lectures. And so I did that. One was George Kavasilis, and I got permission to upload one of his talks. And I did the intro. And then when I discovered Credo Mutua, and I heard the wonderful interview that David Icke had done, where David really, you know, took a back seat and just let Credo talk. Well, that was just too excellent to pass up. And so I did an intro to that. So I do want to do an intro to Thomas, Chris Thomas. But my quandary is that he covers a number of points, and mind, it seems that mind is wanting to come in and take it point by point by point. And it's like I feel kind of lost in the middle of that because I haven't functioned that way for some time. And if somebody did that for me and they laid it out point by point by point that way, I wouldn't find that very useful because I don't have any use for mind's arguments. And so that's why I'm just turning on the video, not to introduce him because I don't think this is that, but just to work my way through what's going on. You know, why can't I just talk about the man? Now, with these others, I listened to, and this is part of it, okay? I listened to the lectures where I introduced the person. I listened to those lectures again and again. I have this thing where it like has to absorb into my cells. And if I feel it's good enough, I'll let it do that. You know, I don't want to take things into my being, into my consciousness that aren't sufficiently accurate or truthful, you know, to pass the BS detector in the heart there. And I feel pretty good about Chris, but there are some things, some ways he looks at things to which I object. He's got a great concept, though, just to introduce a concept to you. He says that the concept that we're ascending or going, let's say, to the fifth dimension or anything like that, he says it's nonsense. Being British, he says it's bollocks, whatever that means. Nonsense, no doubt. He says the point isn't to go anywhere. The point is to contain the whole of the soul within the body. Well, I like that. I mean, to me, it's just a different way to say the same thing. He says souls on average contain 50, I think he said like 500 dimensions or some big number. And so he says it's nonsense to think that we would want to go and be limited to one dimension like 5D. And on the surface of it, it looks like that's a clash. But right now, the way I'm seeing it, okay, Earth has this Schumann resonance, has had for a long time. I don't remember exactly. I think it was 7.8 hertz or something for a very, very, very long time, like forever. And she recently upped it to, God, is it 3.4 megahertz or something? I don't know. Forget the numbers. Don't trust me for the numbers. But the concept is good. It was this one resonance, which is just a frequency, you know, the sine wave thing. It was at this one frequency for a long time, and now it's at a significantly higher frequency. Well, the interesting thing was that I think human beings were the one thing on the planet that resonated at the exact same frequency as the Earth. And so the Earth having upped her frequency, I think is not symptomatic, but it correlates well with all of us raising our frequency. And so, in a way, if we could say maybe, I'm just putting this out there, that 7.8 hertz or whatever it was could be the 3D frequency, and the higher frequency could be the 5D. It's just a matter of the frequency, the vibration, the vibratory rate. We still contain all of the cosmos. We still contain all the planes and dimensions. I mean, he's got some wild ideas, such as the whole reason for the need for chakras is because Earth has been vibrating too low. And so at this rate, it's not possible for the body to contain the wholeness of the soul. And so that's what the chakras are for. He doesn't say it, but it's almost as if he's saying it's a connection. It's a direct mechanism for connection of the soul and the body. And so that being the case, then once the soul is fully contained within the body, there's not the need for the chakras anymore. And as a psychic, he says this is what he's seeing. He's a healer as well. And one who woke up one day with a hypodermic needle hole in his arm and something deadly in his body. And so, you know, the speakers of truth often have these kinds of things happen. And so that kind of lends a little reality to what he's saying. It just makes me pay closer attention because, you know, there's no need to attack someone who's just so far out in left field that he doesn't have anything powerful to offer. And so he's got some really brand new concepts. And I like that. It's all a part of this thing of not holding tightly to whatever our beliefs are, but allowing the breeze to blow through, you know, and not being so shaken by brand new concepts that we can't look at them. And so I'm having fun looking at what he has to offer. But I think it isn't soup yet. So I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be confusing to people. But I have requested permission. Whether it'll be given or not is a coin flip. But I've requested permission to actually upload this two-part lecture. It's at least an hour. It might be longer. It might be 2 hours for all I know. I mean, right now I'm just so not anchored to the mind and to factual kinds of things like that. And some people might think that's pretty worthless, but you know, the realm and realms where I abide, those things are so second rate. You know, they are so non-essential that they're unimportant. And so that's just where I am. Sorry, you know, make allowances for the Ditz. If you want to look at it that way, I can go there too. You know, isn't everything just a perspective? Come on, isn't everything just a perspective? A little while ago, I was speaking of the, well, all right, the grays, which the Andromedans call the Tao's, and they say that they're zeta reticulans is what they really are. And I forget the star system that they're from. And I'm going to feel stupid if it's called Zeta Reticuli or something like that. But anyway, they're a race that's in process of dying out genetically. And so apparently they have the belief that our genetics has the right kind of magic that might help sustain them. And thus, a lot of the genetic manipulation and the stealing of sperm and eggs and breeding, you know, may be for their own sake. But they have a perspective. And so if we walk a mile in their moccasins, in their shoes, in their whatever they are, we can understand. And I think it's really important to do that because, folks, we are the grays. Okay? The bottom line is whatever it is, we're that. And right now we're playing a part where we appear to be something separate, both in time and space, even. But it's a part we're playing. The underlying reality is a wholeness and a union. And so by understanding another, what we're really doing is understanding a different aspect of ourself. You're me. I'm you. And it's literal. I remember having an experience. It was one of the biggest aha moments of my life, and it's been many years ago now. But I guess it's the golden rule that says, love your neighbor as yourself. And in one moment, I experientially knew that the end of it was left off. And it should have said, for your neighbor is yourself. Literally. And it can be experienced. Why we're locked in and we seem locked in to a limited band of perception, I don't know. But it's a seeming. And it can be, it's flexible. I think a lot of it, a whole lot of it, has to do with our beliefs. Things that we've accepted, things that we've been fed, you know, that we've been just naturally programmed with through school, through our parents, through society, through the workplace, whatever. And so those things create a stream bed through which our consciousness flows. And we need to do some looking at that and seeing if we want to do some rerouting of the stream, you know, and digging someplace else and clearing away some barriers and so on. That's not a very good analogy. But I know that the beliefs are part of it, and I think a very big part of it too. I kind of like what this man Thomas is saying as far as we can look at it as either taking the body with the spirit that's in it and rising into this higher consciousness where we have this oneness and we're more in touch with the soul. I think he might have a better way of looking at it. The body's being converted in such a way that it's rising in frequency. Our bodies are changing. There's just, you know, they just are. Frequencies are changing, and that's changing so many things. And so we could say that we're being enabled to contain the whole soul in the transformed body. And that's easier to grasp in a way. So that, if you will, as the soul comes down into the body, I know that's linear, and the body goes up in frequency, it's making a circle almost, you know. One comes down, one goes up. And it's not exactly that they meet in the middle, but it's something like that. So there are some ideas for you to play with. Um, he says also that nobody has the Roy G. Biv, red, orange, green, blue, indigo, violet set of chakras anymore. That as you change frequency, you change color, and that's just a given. And therefore, the chakras don't look like that. There are those people walking around without chakras because apparently they're in the millions already that have managed to contain the fullness of their soul or spirit. And then there are others. He says, and he describes the colorations, and some of them are translucent or clear even. There's an energy there like a heat wave on a highway or the desert, where you can see that there's energy in motion, but it doesn't have a coloration. Very interesting. It's fun. I hope this hasn't been too scattered. I kind of suspect maybe it has been. I don't know. We'll see. Good day then.